Welcome into another edition of The Session with Londa and David. My name is David Austin.
I'm Londa Sherwood Austin. Welcome back, and I am in a mood.
You are in a mood. Let's talk about it. Let's get it all on the table right now. What's going on with you, miss?
Oh, you don't want to know.
I do want to know.
I got to take my earrings off, though. Go ahead. I'm good.
No, I want to know what's going on. Let's talk about what's going on. We leave everything on the table during this program. Tell me what's bugging you.
I have a client that I'm coaching.
Yes.
I've been a coach for 22 years.
Right.
Okay. I have a client right now, and there's a disconnect.
Okay.
With actually, instead of wearing my headphones, I'm going to put my earrings back on.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I have a client that I'm coaching right now, and there's a disconnect.
Okay.
And if I was just in it for the money, I wouldn't care.
All right.
Wouldn't care at all if there's a disconnect. But I'm not in it for the money. I'm in it I'm really passionate about seeing other people grow.
Sure.
Right? And overcoming obstacles and shifting their mindset. And I can see the mindsets that's holding this person back. I can see the ceilings that's keeping them in.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I can't seem to ask the right questions to lead them through it or past it. And I'm frustrated, and they are frustrated with me, with themselves, with everything. And when I see the issue and I can't help the person get past it, it sucks.
Well, let's talk about how you recognize the issue, and let's do some live coaching around how we get you to be able to help this person see what's going on there.
I don't know if I can. That's the problem. Is without their cooperation, I can't.
Right.
They don't want to. I don't think they want to see it. They don't want to see it. They don't want to go there. They've got walls up around it, and so. The problem is if we don't address this thing, they're not going to move forward. But they've got walls up all around this thing, and so I can't get to it.
Okay, so what do you think the thing is, or what is it manifesting as?
I like the way you asked that. What do I think it is, or what is it manifesting as? Because I think you're right, it's two different things.
Right.
What I think it is childhood trauma.
Okay. And you would know childhood trauma. We've had programs about this, one called Londa Opens Up.
Yeah.
And it's a very emotional episode of this podcast. And this kind of harkens to the way you felt when we started that podcast.
Sure.
And I don't know why we went down that road then, but we did. Do you remember it?
Yeah, vaguely.
So, okay.
And what I think it is, or what I think it is childhood trauma.
Right.
The way it manifests is an unwillingness to pivot.
To what end?
What do you mean?
Why would someone be unwilling to pivot?
Fear of admitting they don't know what they're doing, and they're not doing it the right way. They're wrong.
Well, is anybody in business fully bulletproof? Here's what I mean by that. Does anybody know everything that they need to do to be successful?
Oh, gosh, no. No, including me, including you.
Even geniuses.
Nobody knows everything.
Elon Musk didn't build one spaceship for SpaceX. Elon Musk didn't build one Cybertruck. You see what I mean?
When somebody has a deeply ingrained fear of being wrong or doing things wrong, it's hard for them to be humble and coachable.
Right.
They want to be. They want to be, and they are in certain areas. But if you touch on things that are really deeply rooted in traumatic experiences in their lives,
right,
where they felt like they are not enough, where they have a lot of shame around it, if it touches on that, some people just lock down.
Right.
And I think that's what I'm dealing with. And I think that in the long run, it just makes me really, really sad for this person that they won't let me in. They won't let me help. They're stuck in this thing, and it's going to make them, potentially work and never get results. And they won't know why. They'll blame themselves. And
when we do this program,
ugly pattern,
you're often much more vulnerable than you are in other business conversations.
Sure.
Have you been this vulnerable with this client?
Yeah.
Have you had your little chin start to quiver
sure.
while talking to this client about the roadblocks that you see?
For sure.
And what's the response there?
They cry. That's great. Crying's great. Breakthroughs are great. They're not great if you don't change anything.
Right. So if you were being coached,
yeah,
or if you were coaching someone who
my coach has already told me. Go ahead.
If you were coaching someone who says to you, I've got this coaching client who I cannot get through, what would you say?
Yeah, the same thing that my coach told me. Cut him loose. Let him find somebody who can help them get through it.
Okay.
There's some dynamic going on here. There's some dynamic. Probably what it is there's something about the way that I act or speak or my tonality or something that is triggering to the trauma.
Okay.
And I can only be me.
Right. There's only one you.
And I can be soft, and I have been. I can be vulnerable, and I have been. But there's still something about me being me that's triggering. So you have to do the right thing and cut them loose for their own good so they can go find what they need. And
obviously, in coaching, one flavor, one palette isn't all there is, right? There's multiple options in the world.
Sure.
What kind of system would be better for this person? And the reason I'm asking you this question,
I know.
Well, the reason I'm asking you this question is because if you do cut this coaching client loose, I think you should think about what you would recommend, right? Because you're sad because you don't want this person to not be successful and feel like you're responsible. So how do you tell this person, you can be successful, my style's not working for you, so maybe you'd prefer this?
Sure, that's the getaway story, right?
Well, I don't know.
It is.
There are people that I've had business relationships with that I've said, you know what? It'll take 10 minutes to figure out if it makes sense for us to do business together.
Right.
Sometimes it doesn't.
Right.
And that's okay. That's not a problem unless we're wasting more time than the initial 10 minutes to see if it makes sense.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
I do, and I understand what you're saying. The problem is I can't recommend any other coach or coaching system because they all require a level of humility and teachability that I think this person just doesn't have right now.
Right. Well, becoming a licensed professional in whatever industry you're in is not a quick process.
Right.
There's required education for all kinds of different businesses that you can be a part of, right?
Yeah.
I would say if someone can become professionally licensed with a work at your own pace system, maybe there's a work at your own pace coaching plan that is not personal interactive. Maybe something like that would be good for this person.
I don't know.
Because, you can do the 90-hour course and you can pass the test. Well, then you can learn things that way, maybe.
Let me explain something. I feel like you're dancing around something here.
I'm not. I'm trying to figure out.
Let me explain
how
something.
To help.
A good coach is going to ask the right questions that make you confront your own shit.
Right. That's right.
That's just the truth. A bad coach will simply tell you how good you are and clap for you and keep cashing your checks.
Right.
So think about sports. Okay. A good coach brings out the best in their players.
Right.
By sometimes making them look at themselves honestly. Where are your strengths? Where are the things that aren't your strengths? Let's capitalize on your strengths.
Sure.
Let's get somebody else in here that can do this. You know, if I can, shoot a great 3-point shot every time I'm at the line, but my inside game is terrible, I'm going to have to work on my inside game. And it's going to take a coach to tell me, hey, listen, you can't build a whole career on the 3-point line.
Right.
You've got to also have an inside game. So we're going to do drills. We're going to drill and drill and drill on your inside game.
Right.
And I'm going to get you under the basket and make you shoot and make you fight for position and make you look. Do you know what I'm saying?
But I hate inside. I want to shoot 3-pointers all day. I just want to do 3-pointers.
Well, then you're never going to be in the pros, baby.
There you go. See, what you're describing to me with another sports analogy is the difference between a T-ball coach and a professional baseball coach. A T-ball coach is a babysitter who teaches you fundamentals.
Right.
A professional baseball coach is someone who helps tap into the things in you that are either holding you back or making you great and makes you greater. One is very important. One is formative. One is there to help lift you up when you skin your knee and tell you which direction to run around the bases. A professional baseball coach isn't doing that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So I've got a T-ball player who keeps skinning their knee.
Who wants to be a pro.
And doesn't want me to tell them what direction the base is. No, I got it. No, I got it.
Right.
Okay, then what am I doing here?
Right.
So, all that to say, it could just be a me thing. Get out of the way. I got to get out of their way. I got to get out of their way and let them go. And I did refer them to some, not another coach, but some, actually a book. Referred them to a book. I said, I think you'll really enjoy this book. But, I think sometimes you got to know, it's just true in life. You got to know when to cut your losses and walk away.
Sure.
I hate not being able to get through. I hate not being able to make a difference in the way that I want to.
Right.
But it's cruel for me to try to keep them in contract when I know it's not working.
Right.
And I've tried everything. I know. Like I'm at the bottom of my bag. You ever go through your tool bag and you're looking for that one specific tool and you've got every tool in that bag out on the workbench and you're still digging?
Yeah.
Well, I'm at the bottom of my bag and I've got like a dirty penny and a gum wrapper left. And I'm like...
And 2 thumbtacks.
And I have to be really honest with myself, which also isn't easy, to be honest with myself and say, damn, with all my skill set and with all my years of experience and with every situation I've come up against, why can't I get this through? But the reality is, it's just is what it is. It's the most compassionate thing I can do is to cut them loose and see if they can find something that works better.
Well, and not everybody's coachable, right? Some people just aren't.
True.
Some people can't stand any kind of constructive or deconstructive criticism.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And so those people may not be the right fit for any coaching.
Right.
And
they're certainly not the right fit for me. And I kind of knew that going into this. So it's a little bit of it is my fault because I thought, well, no, I think it'll work okay. I knew. It's like when you sit down with any client,
right.
I've been to listing appointments where I thought to list somebody's home and I thought, ooh, I don't feel like this is the right fit. And I pushed through and oh my God, it was not the right fit. Right. And I made it out the other side, but at my own expense. Right. And so, I kind of knew in the beginning, I don't know, but we'll give it a go and see if this...
The best personality to be in coaching is someone who is consciously incompetent. Let me tell you what I mean. You have people who are unconsciously competent. They don't know whether or not they know, but somehow they just know. right? They're unconsciously competent. There are consciously competent people who know that they know, and they do know, and they've studied and they've learned and they know. That's consciously competent. The worst person to coach is unconsciously incompetent. They don't know, and they don't know that they don't know. They think they know, but they don't know. And that's a bad place to be if you need coaching.
Yeah.
Because you don't know, and you don't know that you don't know, and you think you're right. And that's a bad place to be whenever you're coaching. And for me,
that's it.
I've had employees that are unconsciously incompetent, right? And that doesn't mean they're dumb. It just means they don't know.
Right.
And it might be about one thing.
Right.
You could be the best loan processor in the world, but you've never underwritten. You think you know because you deal with underwriters every day, but you don't really know why the decisions are being made the way they are unless you've sat down with an underwriter and said, okay, I've seen these guidelines. How come you're seeing it this way? Mm-hmm. They don't know that information if they don't know it, right?
Right.
Being inquisitive, being consciously incompetent is great because those people are questions askers and they are good for that position because, holy cow, I know for sure I don't know why you did that. It doesn't make sense to me. Can you tell me why you did that?
Right.
That's awesome. That's a great place to learn from. So if you're dealing with someone who doesn't know and doesn't know that they don't know and doesn't want to hear that someone's opinion is that they don't know, you are never going to get anywhere with that person. Mm-hmm. So that person needs a paradigm shift. That person's going to get into trouble.
That's exactly right.
And not understand why they got into trouble. It's just like when you send an email to 77 people at once. You send one email to 77 people, somebody on that string is going to get confused or get upset. Mm-hmm. Send direct emails to individuals because then you don't create a fire that you don't even know is burning out of your control, right? Mm-hmm. That's the same kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So what I would say to you if I were your coach is you're absolutely right to cut this person loose if you've told them, hey, if you're not happy with your results and you're trying to do it your way, not my way, and you're not willing to try it my way, you'll always be unhappy with your results. And there's nothing I can do to help you. I think if you've said that to this person and they still don't have a paradigm shift, then for sure you cut them loose and you don't feel bad about it.
Right.
Because the worst place to be is unconsciously incompetent. Mm. That's terrible. Nobody wants that.
I get that I'm not for everybody too. Like I'm not dumb enough to think I'm going to work for everybody, right? I'm unique.
Right.
I can work with most people. There are very few people that I've fired in the last 22 years. Very few.
Yeah.
Usually I can get through. I try to work myself out of a job pretty quickly, right? But I'll tell you, my favorite kind of people to work with are people who are desperate as hell.
Well, right. And
especially if they're financially desperate.
Yes.
Like I don't have any choice but to make, my kids don't eat unless I make this work.
Right.
Man, I could do something with that.
Can't pay the rent? Great. Pick up the phone.
Yeah, I can do something with that. That's motivation, right? And I think some of that is that, some of that's at play. There's not a lot of motivation. But you give me somebody who's hungry and desperate and motivated, and they know their kids aren't going to eat if they don't make this work. Mm-hmm. I got to stew now.
Well, there are professional salespeople, and then there are salespeople who are not professional salespeople.
Sure.
Right? It's easy to coach a professional salesperson because they want to be better. They want to make more money. They have a drive. Well, it's hard to coach somebody who's got all the money they need and no stress and just want to hide out in an office and go to lunch with their girlfriend.
And says, I'm not a salesperson. I don't want to use I talk about the language of sales a lot. I don't want to use that language. I mean...
Well, there you go. I think that's your get out of jail free card. I'm coaching salespeople. I'm not coaching soccer moms. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I don't know who this person is, and I'm glad that we're not talking about that. because I don't want to be skewed or give you any different advice based on what I know about people.
Right.
Right. But whomever this is, if your feeling is that they're not willing to do the work to be successful in the line of work that you're trying to train them to do, then you don't need to feel bad about saying I can't help. I'm not the right person.
I mean, anybody who is in sales, there's sometimes scripting that you use. We use scripting because it's generally effective.
Sure.
The scripting that I teach people is quite effective.
Absolutely.
And when someone says, well, it just doesn't sound like me, so I changed it to XYZ, at that moment, I want to fire them. Because listen, it's not about me. Because first of all, I didn't write those scripts. I have written plenty of scripts. I've written scripts for Fortune 500 companies. I've written scripts that turned people's lives and businesses around in a 10-day period of time.
Right.
I've done that. The scripts I'm talking about, though, didn't come from me. They came from like a massive organization that is proven and true and, all that stuff. Well, but it doesn't sound like me. Okay, here's the thing that I want you to hear if you're listening to this podcast. I don't give a shit if it doesn't sound like you. Right. You better figure out how to make it sound like you if your kids aren't going to eat if you don't figure out how to close a deal.
Right.
And I know that's a little bit of old school language, but some things are tried and true forever.
Yeah.
Right?
There's
I don't know. It's just, damn, I love the science of sales, the psychology of sales, the language of sales, everything around it. I love having watched it evolve over this last 35 years that I've been in it. I love that we're much more empathy-driven, relationship-driven today than we were before. Right. 35 years ago, it was very much mind manipulation and scare tactics. And I love the direction that it's gone, but some things stay constant. And the constant is people.
Right.
People want to feel seen. They want to feel heard. And there's certain language that you can use that helps them feel that way, And I think the fact that no matter what language I use with this client, they don't feel seen and heard and understood no matter what language I use. And I'm trying, and all of a sudden, like in our meetings, it feels like I'm back in my first marriage.
Right.
And I'm just banging my head against the wall.
Well, and that's not healthy. So based on that wording, I would say get out of that. You know what I mean?
I just want to be really clear. If anybody ever puts the puzzle pieces together, I don't think there's anything wrong with the person that I'm coaching inherently.
It's just not a love match.
I don't think, and it was a really good match for a long time. And then something, I don't know what happened, something shifted.
Okay.
And it just isn't anymore. And so, but I don't have any, nothing bad to say. There's nothing wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with that person. It's just sometimes you outgrow your client. Sometimes your client outgrows you, and you got to know when to pull the plug and move on.
Well, I would tell you that you're going to feel a lot better after this podcast because you've said all the things that have been bottled up inside you all day, and you almost cried at one point. And that was really interesting to see because I don't think you're really as soft with many people as you are with me and on this particular program because it's just us talking like we're at home sitting on the couch doing our thing. You know what I mean? So there's really some good stuff here. And I could keep asking you questions and try to figure out who you're talking about, but I don't want to do that. I don't think there's anything constructive about that. What I do think is necessary, though, is you forgive yourself for feeling like you've dropped the ball. And I know you feel that way because I look at you and I read you. And I know this person's going to feel like they let you down. And whomever this is, they need to know that, no, they're not letting you down. They're letting themselves down because not being open to coaching only hurts the person being coached. Right. It doesn't hurt the coach. And it does because you internalize things and you're an empath. But you know what I mean? Yeah. I don't know what more to say about it.
Well, I don't know either, but I think what I would say is follow your gut instincts.
Sure.
When today I happened to meet with this person earlier today, and I asked important questions.
Okay.
For specific reasons.
Sure.
Kind of what have you gotten out of this? What do you feel like we've missed? We've only got a couple weeks left on the contract. what needs to be covered before we're done. In the answering of those questions is when I realized they've had their wall up the whole time and haven't really absorbed anything.
Yeah, that's too bad.
It's really too bad. Really too bad. And then I said, they were saying like, you're always asking for the results. But I feel like since I've grown in this area and I've grown in that area, yeah, maybe I'm not making more money, but I've learned this and I've learned this. And I said, oh, well, if that was that's not what we initially discussed as what results would look like to you. Because I ask, if this is a successful relationship, what will that look like, right? And it was increased in production. But now it's, well, I've grown in this area. I've learned how to do this. I've learned how to do that. And, if the dollars aren't there, they're just not there. And I'm okay with that. Oh, well, that's a whole different thing.
Right. If the dollars aren't there and you're okay with it.
And I'll tell you this, anybody listening who's considering coaching with me, I'm not here for that.
Right.
I'm not here for that. I'm here to improve your bottom line.
Right.
I'm here to raise your productivity, to raise your profit margins. Right. I'm not...
To look at what I'm doing right now in my systems and my structure and fine tune it so I can be more productive, more successful, and have more family time. Maybe
so
more
you can have a life
balance, right?
So that you can have a life.
That's what coaching does. Coaching helps you become more efficient,
more productive, so
and
you
more
can have
productive,
a life.
so you can do the things you want to do.
Yep.
And what I don't want to do is have a professional relationship like someone who's going to intramural classes at college.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to learn guitar while I'm here at the real estate office. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Right. I'm not learning Excel spreadsheets.
That's exactly right. I'm not here to get really good at thank you notes.
Yeah. Thank you notes are important, though.
That's an intramural course, though. That's not coaching.
Yeah.
I'm not here to help you learn how to freehand calligraphy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No, I do.
So I think you're on the right track, and I think you need to not beat yourself up. And I personally think that if someone does not want to grow through coaching, they should not pay for coaching.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a mistake. That's wasted money. That's setting money on fire.
Well, this person even said to me, maybe I'm just not cut out for coaching.
And you know what? Maybe that's true. And not everybody is. I don't like being held accountable, which is why I don't do the core anymore. I don't want some dude calling me on Thursday to see how many break breads I've had, and it's not for me.
Right.
No thanks. I do like having a structure to my productivity and benchmarks that I do, and I do those. And what I do personally is I reverse engineer the money I need to make, and I put in the amount of effort I need to make that money.
Right.
It's rare when that doesn't happen. You know what I mean? So for me, I don't want some kid in North Carolina calling me on Thursdays to ask if I've updated my success tracker. No, thank you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's not my jam.
Right.
But what is my jam is relationship-based sales. So I call the people I enjoy. The people that I enjoy are the people I want to work with.
Right.
So the people I work with, I'm in constant contact with, and that's how business happens. And maybe this person's like that. Now, I get coached every day by the best real estate coach in the United States of America, so it's a little unfair of me to say. And you do hold me accountable, and I don't love the accountability piece of it, but what can you do?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there you go. There you have it. There it is. Do you feel a little bit better?
No. No, I don't. I'm still in a mood. I don't. And that's okay. It's super important to me that through these podcasts, for both people who listen to them, that I'm always really honest.
Yeah.
And transparent. And usually I'm super up and we deliver a good product and I feel happy about it. And today,
I think this is a good product whether or not you feel super up.
Today I just feel, like this was a kind of a shit day for me. Welcome to my Shit.
Yeah.
I love you, though. Thanks for being here, both of you.
Well, this is important stuff, and we have tens of thousands of listeners, so stop that with your both of you. It's funny, but stop it. What else do you want to impart in the next 52 seconds?
God, just listen to your gut. When you know when it's not right, it's not right.
I would say the moral of the story of this podcast is not every business relationship is healthy and fruitful. Find the ones that are.
Sure.
And you're not stuck. You can have the latitude to find the relationships that are healthy and fruitful for your business. For Londa, Joanne, Sherwood, Austin, my name is David Austin, and this has been another edition of The Session with Londa and David. We'll be back with a much more uplifting episode next week. Go to YouTube. You can see this fully produced with all of the
you'll be able to see my cute little
words
bun.
and emojis. All right, we'll talk to you soon.